So it has been 21 days as of tomorrow. So we're about to take this egg turner out of the incubator, and hopefully we'll have some baby chicks tomorrow. It's almost time to get these babies into the brooder. Alright, so we hatched out some chicks and they are doing absolutely wonderful in the chick brooder. There they are. We have 7 babies and they are doing great. They got a nice area. All right, what are we doing?
We are cleaning out the gray shed of lots of old junk to go into the 18-wheeler until it can be disposed of.
Yeah, tell them what we're gonna do.
We are gonna host all our chicken stuff. So there'll be some tools in here. It's probably gonna be a little echoey with me in here. Let them see in there.
So this is 30 years of stuff collected. It's not all junk. There's nails, screws, there's very useful things in here. So we're putting in a keep pile and everything, things that we may need on the farm. But this is gonna get completely redone and gonna be our little feed barn for our birds, chickens, ducks.
A little bit of tools, but mostly feed and chicken, fowl accessories. So
Yeah, maybe
waters,
some like fencing
feeders.
stuff.
Yep, staples, a spare hammer, all the goods for taking care of birds. And Silas.
Silas is teaching Millie how to get the good sticks. We're catching some of these hens to move them, and Chanticleer is not happy messing with his girls. All right, it's for your own good. So this is a temporary setup for Chanticleer and some of our hens. My mom had this dog pen and she didn't need it, so until we can get the coop finished, we are going to keep them in here. It'll be a little easier to get in and out, get eggs, keep it a little cleaner than the trampoline coop. Definitely easier to get in and out. We're going to add another piece of tin up top to give them a little more covering. And Ben had a really good idea for some laying boxes, and it's actually working pretty great so far. But these are cat litter buckets that he turned into little laying boxes, and they are doing absolutely wonderful. That's Henrietta. She is a barred rock. She's actually one of the first hens that we got. Her and several of her siblings were given to us, and since then we have definitely got a lot more. So have some eggs in here, and they're nice and clean, which is so nice. We're gonna add a roost right where Chanticleer is. And of course, like I said, we're gonna add one more piece of tin to give them more covering. This is only a temporary pen, and also it'll be really good to put meat birds in here once they grow out of the brooder. So it's all coming together pretty nicely. We're excited about it. They're mad at us. We actually dewormed them a little while ago. You mad, Sean? We're gonna take the rest of this video and talk to y'all a little bit about Ben.
That's me.
One of the things that we want to do with our homestead is we want it to be a place to actually help veterans. We have a heart for veterans, and mainly because Ben is a veteran. He was in the National Guard for 12 years. He got out June 2022, so it's pretty fresh.
Yep.
So he knows what it's like to be deployed. He was deployed twice, and I'm going to let him talk about it. He doesn't really like to talk about it a whole lot, but because we're wanting to use our farm for the help of veterans with things like PTSD and stuff like that, we do want to get on here and talk about it a little bit. And the reason is because, you know, this farm, our homestead, the ability to go out and work with these animals and on the land has actually really helped Ben a whole lot. You know, when he needs to kind of get out.
It's my personal therapy.
And then you were deployed twice, so talk about where you were.
So I was deployed to Afghanistan, my first deployment. We were deployed in what they would call a hot zone, which is somewhere that was decently active with, you know,
He was in war zones.
conflict.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we moved around a lot while we were there for our mission. Flew a lot. And that was back when they were still a year long, before they shortened them to 9 months for the military, other than the Air Force. They got their 6-month deployments.
So Ben was married before, as I was married before. We've only been married, we've been married, May 31st will be 3 years. Yep. That we've been married.
Right in the middle of the pandemic.
So I have been with him for military part-time, but not the deployment side of it. I'm very grateful that I mean, I would love to have been with you, but I didn't do that well when he had to go to the inauguration.
Or even 2-week annual training.
Yeah, I really like my husband home. So he actually, him and his ex had their first daughter
while I was deployed.
While he was deployed. He got to see her
for 10 days right before I left country. I was already at what we call our mobilization station in Washington State. And she was born like right towards the end of that time where we were supposed to be getting ready to leave from there. And my unit actually paid for me to come home for a 10-day leave to see her.
And that's one thing about the military too. Soldiers truly become family. They help each other out. Even like, we'll fast forward to when he went to the inauguration. That's when we got, y'all seen some videos with Issy in it. She's not our biological child. We're in the process of adopting her. But I actually went to church on a Wednesday. Ben was in Washington, D.C. For the inauguration. And I came home and I was given this child. And the military, the sergeant...
Yep, our training NCO that was held back for logistical duties at our unit actually gathered up some stuff. A lot, well, I say some, a lot of stuff.
Well, what happened is he's like, you know, Ben went to him and said, my wife was just given a 15-month-old. We don't have anything. I don't know what to do. I know you're not going to send me home, which he couldn't just send him home. But he literally was like, ask your wife what she needs. They brought a toddler bed, clothes, diapers. They brought so much stuff. And then the sergeant came and he set the bed up. Like, he came and helped me set the bed up and everything, which was, that's the thing. There's pros and cons with everything in life. the military, you know, it is time away from family and stuff, but there's a lot of really good people in the military, you know, and the military blessed us, of
They did.
course, and we are so grateful for that. And I think, you know, Ben being a soldier and going through a lot of that is really where that determination and the drive to do a lot of the things that we have to do on the farm came from being a soldier. You know, the drive to do these things and the endurance to go to work, come home, help me do the farm. I really think that has a lot to do with your training.
But you know, as a soldier on a deployment, a lot of times you don't have like a set schedule. Like you're not working an 8-hour shift. You may be working a 12-hour shift that becomes a 16-hour shift if duty calls. Like
kind of like being a stay-at-home mom. You never know what those kids are going to do.
You cannot say, "Oh, well, I'm clocked out. Sorry, sorry about your luck." And so you really learn how to step up and put that foot forward.
Yeah.
Even when you're stressed out and it looks like everything's falling apart. Because, I mean, when you got mortars raining down all over the place and alarms going off, if you panic, you're going to make the wrong decision.
Yeah. Well, you're trained not to panic.
But even training only takes you so far until you hit that real world application, though. And so you learn, I wake up before the sun comes up, I go to work, I work an 8-hour shift, and I come home to feed all the large animals.
Wait, he wakes up,
and
drives an hour to work. Works 8 hours, drives an hour home.
Yeah. And then I come home and feed all the large animals.
Yes, because I do the chickens, ducks, rabbits, quail. Mm-hmm. I do all of that because I have the time to do that while the babies are sleeping.
Yeah, but then I fill up their waterers when necessary.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I try to come in and help with whatever is...
Because this is a partnership.
Yep.
These are our children.
Yeah.
We've looked into how we can allow veterans to come and work on the property as like a type of therapy for,
Yep.
One of the main things I think is PTSD, where
a lot of times
it's PTSD. There are other disabilities and stuff that happen from being a veteran, but a lot of
physical ones.
A lot of physical ones, but I think there's probably a lot more of the psychological.
Well, you gotta think if you have a arm blown off, you now have a physical and mental trauma. It's not gonna just be a physical trauma. So PTSD is going to always be the most prominent trauma for a soldier, or the most prominent side effect of trauma.
Well, even recently, someone that I've been friends with for a long time, he was in the military, and a friend of his, just ended his life, who was a soldier and struggles with PTSD. Yeah. And, we've said many times that we're Christians. We believe that Jesus and Jesus alone is who frees you from those things, the belief in God and putting those Bible practices. So we don't want just the farm, but we actually, this is a ministry for us. We want to help people. And I told Ben a long time ago, I just have a feeling that, the things that you've gone through, you're meant to help soldiers. And we have a heart for soldiers. His brother was in the National Guard for about as long as he was. His dad was in the military. My dad was military for a short time. We know so many. Yeah, so we highly respect military. It's a big part of our lives because it was half a good part of your life.
It's the majority of my adult life. I'm only 33. Yeah. So a lot of times with PTSD, a lot of social interaction actually comes into play where
it's overwhelming.
Yeah. Sometimes to the point of feeling like you're being choked out. And so the farm really is really a big help because, you know, I can come home from work where I deal with people all day long. Not that my coworkers are difficult or anything. It's just literally social interaction sometimes is just more than your mind and your emotions want to deal with. And I can just come home, you know, and go out and feed the animals, and the animals aren't the same as people.
No.
You know, the interaction with them, they don't want anything but food and water and maybe a scratch behind the ear.
That's why
like
animals are therapy
Yep.
in so many cases. That's why
Yep.
you have therapy dogs and stuff, because the animals help take that tension.
And so I can go out there and remove human interaction for a little bit. Even if it's not feeding the animals, you know, we got 1,000 projects to do.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I go out there and a lot of times it's just
Working on
just
stuff.
me working on a chicken coop or a brooder.
Yeah.
Which, as you've seen in some of our videos, if you've already watched them, that we have had help.
Yes,
we have had help.
have amazing
So,
church family and friends.
Yeah.
We're very, very grateful. We've been so blessed with
mhm.
really our church family. Like, just the people have just, there's so many that have just helped us, or not even like physically, but like sharing our post and
Yeah.
and telling other people about our farm and what we're doing, and just praying for us. We have we got some older prayer warriors
Yeah.
that we absolutely adore. One of them, I know in some of the videos you've seen the rooster picture.
Mhm.
One of our most favorite people in the world, Miss Jessica from the church. I know she's one of our prayer warriors. We can call her for anything.
Yeah.
And she actually painted the rooster picture in our kitchen.
She is an amazing
She's
artist.
an amazing artist. I mean, her whole house is artwork.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, most of it she painted.
yeah.
She's got my broken bird picture.
Yeah, you're proud of that.
Yeah.
He painted a picture at one of those paint things, and we may have made fun of it a little bit. And then she was like, "Don't you do that? It's beautiful." And she took it.
She did.
And she loves it.
It's hanging on her wall somewhere.
Yeah. But, you know, it's not just social interaction just with other people, but sometimes it's just, right now we have, you know, full-time 3-year-old and 11-month-old. And then, of course, we have our 2 girls from his previous marriage that they're here. And then when everyone's here, and kids are kids, and it gets really loud.
Yeah,
And sometimes the house, even though it's a nice size house, it feels like it gets really small, and the noise.
You know, especially as a family, as a split family.
Yeah.
You know, you're adding and taking away constantly. You're adding 2 kids to the mix, and then you're taking 2 kids away from the mix. And
which adds emotions to the 3-year-old.
Of course, yeah. But also, that means every so many days,
there's more.
Noise level changes. So, you know,
routine changes,
everything. And so, like, when they first get here, it's an intense amount of extra noise.
It's
because
loved.
it is loved.
It is
but
loved.
sometimes when you're already overwhelmed, you're not thinking about these things that way. And so, you know,
it's good to get outside.
They show up and it's, hey,
well, they're making up for lost time, and it's like, I need to tell you all the things that have happened.
And so they're firing off 90-0.
Yeah.
And then the 3-year-olds running around trying to tell them everything and show them everything. And so sometimes it's like,
and the baby's just screaming because the baby screams. She has found her voice, and she likes to yell at her toys, and it's loud.
Yeah.
And they're all girls. Like, they're all girls, and you know, girls just, they need a lot of attention in talking. But of course, you know, the older ones, you know, Ben will be like, "All right, you two, come on, let's feed chickens, gather eggs." And so there's that quality time. And that's good too, because, like, you know, not even talking about being a veteran right now, but you know, we have girls that aren't here all the time, so being able to include them on the farm, you know, they love to go out and water and feed. And
well, and our oldest one is actually very passionate about it.
Oh, she's very passionate
She
about
talks
it.
about it all the time, and how she wants to live this lifestyle one day herself.
She wants to be a homesteader
So,
or a vet tech.
you know, we had the conversation that hey, if you want to do this one day, then when I'm out here doing stuff, you need to be on my tail.
Yep.
Every step I make, you need to be right behind me.
And she loves it.
And so she has started staying by my side when I'm out there working, and she's feeding chickens and helping collect eggs and helping drag water buckets around or drag hoses around.
Yeah. But we just wanted to take a little bit of time to just kind of discuss what we're doing. Probably in the next videos coming up later, we're going to talk a little bit about, because we've actually recently honed in our focus on a little bit different than what we originally, because that's the thing about homesteading. And it's one thing to have the plans and you're like, this is what I want to do, but when you start building it and going into it, sometimes you'd be like, well, I feel like our passions and
Line in another direction.
It goes a little differently. So and that's great, because we're learning. We're just because you're like, oh, that looks cool, I'd like to do that, and then you start doing it and you're like, well, I like this a little more than this. So we're going to talk a little bit about what we're wanting to do. We ordered the meat birds.
Yep, we ordered 100 meat birds.
Yes. So you are going to see a brooder full at the end of this month.
Yep.
We are super excited about that.
We have a little less than 2 weeks before they should be
I'm
here.
so excited. And I'm about to incubate a whole thing of duck eggs, which I'm so excited about, because the duck hatching was super special and different. It is different than the chicks. So we really enjoy that. But other than that, we just wanted to get on here, and it's been a minute since we just sat and talked. And to let y'all know that we're wanting, what we're doing, and, we want our home and our farm to be a ministry and help people. And, if there are veterans who watch this and you want to send us a message or anything, well, Ben, a message. I don't know how much help I would be, but
and we'll be hosting some classes here and there.
Yes.
So there'll be opportunities for veterans to come out and learn a little bit about the process, whether it be from growing and building your own garden to
meat bird
processing. I process a lot of our own larger animals like pigs, goats, deer, occasionally rabbits, but we're not big into the meat rabbits.
I think right now, because we were going to do meat rabbits, but I think right now we're just going to keep like maybe 3 to 4 rabbits to do compost and fertilizer.
And we'll breed them to sell. Every couple of months.
See, that was something we thought we were going to do,
Yep.
and it's, we decided differently, and that's what happened. So sometimes, if you're getting into homestead and stuff and you're like, I feel like my plans are always changing, sometimes it does. And it's okay. And you just roll with the punches, and
you just take it one day at a time. Plan ahead, but don't get out your stone and chisel and
don't get frustrated if you're like, I just can't make this happen, because God's ways are higher than ours. He knows what we need, and that's what we're doing. Like, we have all these ideas, and sometimes when you have all these ideas, you're like, God, I want you to come and bless this. But his plan may be different than ours, so he knows what's best. So sometimes the plan that falls into place is what you're meant to do, what you need to do. We thought about doing different types of ministry stuff, but it kept coming back to veterans. We thought about being foster parents and doing stuff with kids, but it just, everything, comes back to veterans. So we truly believe that we're meant to do something and help veterans. So don't get discouraged. Just pray, seek the Lord, and walk a path. And what I like to tell people is, if you are seeking God, you're praying and reading the Word, and He has your heart, if you get off path a little bit, He's a big enough God to get you back on path.
Right.
As long as that's what you're seeking. He's big enough. So just start walking. If you just sit and stay stagnant and just always plan but never do, you're not going to have anything, because God blesses work.
Yep.
He blesses going and doing, and if you get off track, like with us, I think we've gotten off track a couple of times, and he brings us back in line.
It happens.
And it happens.
You're gonna get off track.
Exactly. So, but yeah, so just a little bit of encouragement at the end of this. You know, seek first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. And that has to do with peace that surpasses understanding, and the fruit of the Spirit that should be in our lives: love, joy, peace, patience, seeking the kingdom first, and then all this stuff comes, and you're able to tap into it and use it in your everyday life. So it's a little bit of a Bible study at the end.
Yeah.
Didn't know we were going to talk about it, but but we pray that y'all have a blessed day. Thank you for the support, the subscribers,
Yes.
everything that's going on. We look forward to sharing more videos. Y'all have a great day.